This is a quick introduction in how to send a file from the computer to the laser cutter and the simple steps taken before using the machine. So we're going to go to the 2D design icon in the top left, press on it, and then we're going to press anywhere in the square itself and the square in the middle will disappear. We're going to now import a file, and that can be from the OneDrive or it can be from a stick. So import file, this PC, USB, and I'm going to import that file and press OK. Next we need to set the material size up. The maximum cut I'm going to be cutting is 300mm. So I'm going to use a piece of 2mm acrylic, which is 330mm square, which is a standard size of acrylic from the goods in stores downstairs. So go to Setup, Drawing, Layout, and User Defined, and we're going to import 330mm by 330mm, and that's going to be our material size. So press OK. If you use the black square in the middle, you can now centralize it in the center of a material. Our cuts are going to be on the material now. Next, we need to tell the laser cutter which sequence of cuts we're going to be cutting first. So usually we do engraving first if we're doing any engraving, and then we move on to the smaller holes, and then we go to the larger holes or larger cuts after. If we try and highlight anything at the moment, we can't highlight it. It's all grouped, so what we need to do is press on the outside of the ring and go to Edit and Ungroup. Now everything should be ungrouped now, so if we'd like to highlight one particular hole, we can do. If we'd like to highlight the lot, we can. We're going to be cutting the smaller holes first, so we need to tell the printer that. So by highlighting all the small ones, we're then going to go to Color in the center, not the one on the right. We're going to press on Color, and we're going to ignore all the basic colors at the top. We need to use the custom colors. The first cuts are always the black, so even if we're engraving, it's the black, then the red, then the green. We've only got cuts to do, so we're going to be using black as the first cut. So we'll press on the black and we'll press OK. So now all these smaller holes will be cut first, and the outer ring, if we press on the outer ring, we'll go to Color up here again, ignoring the basic colors, going down to the custom color on the red for the second lot of cuts. We're going to press OK. Next thing we need to do is pick the speeds and tell the laser cutter what material we're using and what speed we're going to be cutting at. On the back wall of the laser cutters, we've got a cut settings and the speeds for the materials you're going to be using. And for a 2mm acrylic, the speed is 3.2 and the power 100. So we need to go to File, Print Setup, and it's going to ask us which printer we're going to be using. Whichever laser cutter you're going to be sat at the bottom is the printer or the laser cutter you're going to be sending it to. This one is the X252, and we're going to press on it and press Properties. We press Manual Color Fill for that. We move on to Pen, and this is the speeds and power. So we're going to be setting it at 3.2. And power 100. And we need to press a raster off. The second lot of cuts is on the red, so we need to go down and repeat the process, and power 3.2. Power 100, raster off. Paper is the next, and that's the material size, 330 again. Press OK. And then we're going to press OK because we've done all of it now. No there. And then we're going to press File and Print. And that should send it to the laser cutter. Before you send it to the laser cutter, we may need to make sure the laser cutter is switched on. But we also need to make sure the water cooler is switched on and the extractor is switched on. The laser cutter won't work without all three of these being switched on. So please make sure before you try to use the laser cutter that all three are switched on. Press Print and then OK. Now, before attempting to use the laser cutter as mentioned previously, we need to switch both the extractor and the water cooler on. The laser cutter will not work without all three machines switched on. So on the control panel, your file should have been sent over now, and it should look something like this. Next, you need to carefully place your material on the bed of the laser cutter, being careful not to catch the head or the autofocus probe while doing so. Pull the laser head slightly over the material and press the autofocus button, allowing the machine to focus on the level of the material. Once you press the autofocus button on the control unit, the bed will rise until the probe connects with the material, then lowers again slightly. Only after you've autofocused your material, you can now shut the door on the machine and press start. The laser cutter will then start to cut in order the data you have sent. It is now cutting the smaller holes, which are processed as black in the cut sequence procedure. Last, it will cut the outer circle, which was coloured red. Finally, when the machine is finished cutting, the laser head will return to its finished resting place, which is usually at the top. You can now move the laser head to one side so you can carefully remove your cut material and any waste from the machine. If you had finished and nobody else is waiting to use the machine, at this stage you can switch off all three machines and remember to always log out of the computer. Before using the laser cutter for the first time, please check with a technical tutor that all settings are correct. Only after that may you be able to use the machine without guidance. Finally, never leave a laser cutter unattended while the machine is in operation. There is always a risk of something catching fire.